Hi, you guys. Good morning. Good morning, lovelies. Good morning, lovelies. I do not have time to read on anything. Something's going on. As if you didn't know that. Something majorly is going on. And so I've gotten you guys to kind of think like astrologers. Today, we're going to think a little bit like detectives and psychologists. But I can draw a card or two. I told you guys I keep all the cards in the deck now. So just, the media is going to drive us crazy today. That's my topic. And you guys, this is crazy. How dumb do they think that we are with what they're doing to the media? I mean, come on now. Seriously. I think I need to put in my microwave. See, I can't even talk. My microphone. Yeah. My microwave, like, Kellyanne Conway, it's spying on me. Do you think my microphone is spying on me? It's so ridiculous. Okay, let me see if I can get hooked up here. But I have discovered a critical link as to what I think might be going on and why the media is driving us so freaking crazy. I'm trying to just get my microphone on. Oh, and now my phone is acting super weird. My phone is acting super duper, like, spy weird. My microphone should be good now. Right? Can you hear me? I don't know if it's going to stay like this. Anyway, yeah, my phone's even acting weird now. On your iPhone, if you guys have one of those, when you go to look at your iPhone storage and you look, like it has so much space for apps, so much for photographs, other system requirements, which is about 5 gig, and then other. I have watched my other category go up from 3 gigabytes to 9 gigabytes over the last 2-3 days. That stuff you can't delete. That is just like information they need to keep on file, like your browsing history. I don't know what, but it is increasing exponentially, and I very much dislike it because I need that space. God, I hope you can hear this. Okay. So anyway, they think we are absolutely super duper dumb, this media. Oh my gosh, I cannot even handle them. So, Tarot, let's just give me 2 really good cards on what we should focus on today when the world is pissing us off. Okay? Can you just give us 2 really good cards, to consider as we go through this crazy Thursday? 5 of Cups. Okay, that's a little too much reality. Depression. 3 cups down, 2 cups up. Here's the thing. We're still standing. Hey, this is actually kind of positive because we're still freaking standing. They are trying to knock us totally down. They are. You got 3 cups down. We got 2 cups up, and we're going nowhere. You can disappoint me all that you want, but you're the one going down, not me. What else? Who's the king of your emotions? Who's in charge of you? Who's in charge of you? So it is going to be an emotional day. Who's in charge of you? You're still standing. You are the one who is in charge of you, okay? Everybody else can just forget it. Okay, stay centered, stay in your space. People start pissing you off, just back off. Okay. There's a lot going on. I will first tell you that wow, the aspects that are coming up for tomorrow is going to be triggering the can opener eclipse, because the sun is going to be 24 degrees Aquarius, and so it's going to be semi-sextile. It's going to be kissing the Capricorn part of that full moon eclipse at Capricorn 24. It will be in conjunct. It'll just be at a weird angle, which is like kind of where weird stuff just kind of happens, that you're like, how does this go together? Well, that how does this crap go together is going to be activated tomorrow on Thursday. And we have Pluto drilling down on that can opener. It is applying a exact conjunction to that eclipse, and it's opposite that sun. Things are hot. Things are hopping. The moon tomorrow is going to be, it's about 15. It's going to still be in the 10th house. The skies over Washington, D.C., very public. Everyone can see that's where it's been for the past day, and everyone's been freaking out. Actually, the past 2 days have just been nuts. Then it's going to go into the 11th house. It'll go into a new sector, and ruled by Aquarius, so Uranus is going to be extra active. This tornado, we're just wanting to slow down. I will tell you, at the full moon, Donald picked the Eight of Wands card for the skies over Washington, D.C. What does that mean? Things are moving super fast, and he's doing it on purpose. Speaker Pelosi pulled the Justice card. She's having a justice issue, and this is interesting. Bill Barr picked the Emperor card, doing everything he can do for Emperor. Now remember, this full moon happened while it was in Putin's house, Putin's sector. So for 2.5 days, these yahoos were conspiring, talking with Putin about what to do with what. Oh, there is Zuck. No, that's not Zuck. Conspiring with Putin, along with the kids and along with the government, on what to do as we head into this week with the primaries. And now it's all just exploded. I am floored. This Josh Schulte case that is on super lockdown about WL. It's very hard to get information about it, but like I posted in the community, I'm very concerned because the digital armies are all over that, trying to invalidate the legitimacy of it and or tie it to the Democrats and the Russian hoax, and now it's Biden's fault. I know some of you don't like Biden. This isn't about liking Biden or not liking Biden. He has gone through enough as a former vice president of the United States to be getting just plundered with all this crap that's not been shown to be true, from Burisma to now Vault 7 and WL, trying to blame the whole Russia thing on him and Brennan. It's appalling. And so it's interesting to me that Josh Schulte, that case, he drew the Ace of Wands, which is an op. We're seeing that op against Biden and Brennan and how they're weaponizing it. I think with as crazy as Barr is being this week, what they're doing is to cover up something else. And I'm going to go into detail about that a little bit more. The other thing, remember the Ace of Cups? We figured out any op, the origin, the Ace of Cups is always the origin, goes back to Putin. It's Putin's idea, Putin's plan. Lavrov carries it out. That's what the Ace of Cups is. That's why they have special communication about that. And that is over the 10th in the skies of Washington, D.C. But guess who got the Ace of Cups? Russia. The FBI. So I think these guys are nervous. There's a good reason why they're nervous. Okay, so this is going to be more of a chit chat and going back, Mercury's in shadow, almost retrograde, how appropriate that we go back and revisit these things. I want to know why it's so flipping crazy, nuts with the media. And so as I was thinking about that today, because all day long today, well, since that news broke, since the primaries, there's only 2 stories that are on CNN, MSNBC. There's a third one I went to PBS, and it was like the same thing. But the only stories we're hearing about the New Hampshire primaries, about Bernie, and they've talked about it so much now. The secondary headline about that is, how can you have 3 people going into the convention tied? Like, they're creating another problem for us as we get to July. Shut up. And the second story, of course, is Roger Stone and Bill Barr. They're milking that for all that they can, because they need that kind of outrage and cover. And then, of course, the third story, I thought I'd get something at PBS, and no, they're talking about Bloomberg and racism. I will tell you that after the New Hampshire primaries, I checked in the middle of the night, and already Bloomberg was a racist, was trending. So that is all another information war. Some of it's true, some of it isn't true, but they're using their digital armies, their trolls, to blow this all up, to feed on the divisive qualities, the energy, the feeding frenzy of the top 5 Democrats. And now we're going to throw Bloomberg in here. After we built him up really big for you guys to really like him, now we're going to tear him down. This is how they do it all the time. We blow someone up that you really, really like, and then we figure out how to tear them down, then we shred them to pieces. It reflects this pattern over and over in Real Clear Politics. Someday I will take you through and show you day by day how the polling and the reporting is rigged. Rigged in the fact that it is hacking an election in the minds of the electorate, because that's all they do. And there's a pattern how they do this from one primary to the next. I just want you to be aware of that. Watch what's happening. Step back and watch what's happening. Instead of reacting, watch what's happening. Okay, so the last time I realized that I was so mad at the media for only reporting on one thing, well, that was back in July 30th. And that was when I did the MSNBC Can't series. There were 3 videos. They were controversial. People get upset about them because I'm trying to explain what's happening. MSNBC Can't is not a criticism of Rachel Maddow. Not at all. It's not a criticism of Lawrence O'Donnell. Not at all. Those are the 2 that most people get really upset about when I start talking about MSNBC. Please separate the TV journalists from the president and the company who makes the decisions on programming. The TV journalists don't get to decide. There are things that they want to do, but ultimately, if they're told not to, they won't. Okay? So, the last time this happened, when they went all day like this, I was so furious. I did those series. This was July 30th. There were 3 videos. 1, MSNBC Can't. 2, MSNBC. And the Russian word Maskirovka, Maskirovka. It's called reflexive control of the narrative and therefore the opposition. It's a tactic. When they control the narrative of a story, they control the opposition. On July 31st, that's when I found that What the Tweet by Senator Shelby, which found the tweet by Senator Shelby. Keep these dates in mind. July 30th was the last time this happened with the media. They just did this only, and the thing, what they only reported on that time was Elijah Cummings. Remember, Don Julio was calling Elijah a racist. And for 2 days, that's all we heard about. Then on July 31st, I saw the tweet from Senator Shelby because there was a rushed confirmation for Linda Blanchard to be the ambassador to Slovenia. And the person who was supposed to be in that position suddenly got ousted because Donald really wanted this person, which was red flags all over for me. So I'm going to recap for you what happened on these days and why the media was such a panicked frenzy. First of all, Donald had to sign sanctions against Russia on August 1st for the poisoning of the skirt balls. But leading up to that, we officially announced an impeachment inquiry at the quarter moon, like in the middle of the week of that week on that Wednesday. Trump attacked Elijah Cummings. We had the Mueller hearing. MSNBC did not even report on the Mueller hearing. They just reported on the attacks on Elijah Cummings. That night, Peter Jennings not once mentioned, this is that Friday night of the hearing, not once mentioned Mueller. He mentioned how awful the Democrats were and criticized them at what a bad job they did to convince the public of the Mueller findings. But what also happened, we found out that day Georgia officials had destroyed evidence with election machines. We discovered that, now this is a different one, but Facebook had a $5 billion fine that day. That day, the FTC also fined Cambridge Analytica. That day, Mr. Epps' pilot was subpoenaed. I think the Elijah Cummings, that report came out on, oh my God, the Saudi money for weapons and nuclear never hit the news. There was a buried lead that Giuliani and Bolton both were supporting an Iranian terrorist group that was on watch since 1997. IRS letters were sent out warning cryptocurrency holders that they're tracking currency and data analytics. Nobody heard about that. That day, 4 Republicans decided not to seek re-election. And Elijah Cummings' house was broken into. They didn't report any of that. They reported on Elijah Cummings being a racist, and then the squad, Donald was screaming about, I don't think they could get in, they were going to Israel or I don't know where they were going. Remember that weekend? And so today, all we heard about were the primaries in Barr and Stone. There's a lot of news that's going on today. And it's also Abraham Lincoln's birthday. Did anybody see anything about happy birthday, Mr. President Abraham Lincoln, anywhere? No, not a word. So other things that happened today. My God. So this WL trial, the transcripts for that trial, they're being held for 24 to 48 hours. The journalists have to pay so much money to get them. That building where this trial is kind of like on lockdown. You can't access anything. Nobody's really reporting on it. There were coronavirus spikes today. The Dems were asking for details about the Secret Service payments today. Stuff was happening with Harvey Weinstein. The Horizon spill was worse than what we knew. Some of you might have seen this, that there was news coming out about Jim Jordan and Ohio State University with investigations. Oh, This one nobody heard about. Syria. Anyone hear about that? The Taliban in the U.S. were touting their ceasefire because in Syria, this is so horrible. U.S. and Syrian U.S. forces came under fire by Assad mercenaries. A Syrian soldier is dead. We have a wounded soldier, and this was in a deadly checkpoint clash. I don't know if you guys know this, but there's been a massive Syrian refugee exodus again by hundreds of thousands. The Syrian soldiers that we did train, they are working so hard. They are fighting hard. But, you know, now our military is patrolling. Let's see. Where is this? Our military is patrolling. Where did I write that? Well, anyway, you know, our military is patrolling the oil fields for Russia. Russia, Turkey. That's what our military is doing over there. Disgusting. Tony Price is supposed to step down as the Iowa State Democratic chair. Something's going on with the census. Here's a good news. You're going to like this a lot. So Mars finally caught up to the galactic center. You know, we ladies, the feminine, the divine feminine, hit the galactic center back in November. And I said it'd be several months before Mars caught up and would cross the galactic center and come into our new world with the new Jupiter 12-year transit. Well, the guys entered that today, the male energies, and I love this because the U.S. men's soccer today said that the federation discriminates against women in soccer because, you know, the U.S. women's national team, they keep winning. That's kind of cool. There was that hearing. Ron Wyden was demanding from Mnuchin he wanted to know more about what Mnuchin and his son-in-law were both doing in the Oval Office with Erdogan, you know, Turkey, President whatever, FOTUS, not a FOTUS, but a President of Turkey. So he's a FOT. He's a FOT. Okay, so this is a huge, huge problem, you guys. Mnuchin and his son-in-law took a meeting in the Oval Office, as I understand it, because they're implicated with the Hal Bank scandal. What's the Halk Bank? Halkbank bank? Well, you know, Putin's got his bank. Erdogan says that this is his bank. Yeah, one of those. And this is from 2017. Both Vanguard and BlackRock fund managers, that's not Bayrock. BlackRock, somebody else is in here. I can't remember his name. But anyway, so let me tell you a little bit about this Halkbank scandal from 2017. These two funds had shares in Turkey's state bank. And it functioned as a money laundering machine for Iran to bypass U.S. sanctions. So Turkey and Iran using this bank to avoid U.S. sanctions. And the person from Halk Bank, ATILLA, was arrested, and then ZARRAB, he was arrested last year at Disney when he was on vacation with his family. But this guy, who's implicated in it through BlackRock and Vanguard, hired Giuliani as his lawyer. This is humongous big. So that was happening. Did you hear anything about that? No. The Department of Education is looking into Harvard and Yale universities because they've failed to report more than $6.5 billion in foreign funding from Places like Saudi Arabia, China, Russia. That's the thing. When we have been looking at colleges, and I've been appalled to see how many universities are offering Russian studies, and I've said all those schools are off the list because you got Russian studies there, you got Russian spies, is the way I think about it, the way all this money has been bankrolled into universities. So I'm glad to see someone's finally investigating that. Julian Assange is supposed to be extradited come the 24th. Oh my gosh, this one. Bolivia, their interim government, they decided to halt their construction of their nuclear center with Rosatom, Rosatom, you know, that Russian company in Bolivia. Also today, Trump wants to cut 25% of the military fund designed to offset Russia aggression in Eastern Europe. That's what happened today. But no, New Hampshire, no. Bill Barr. Okay, that was that. So that's the news that happened today. We're going to get back to the astrology. There's so much. How long have I been talking? Oh my gosh. You guys, I don't even know where to start with this. I'm not even going to do the... Okay, so the last time this happened was after the can opener eclipse. And I was going back to look at my lunations to see what the heck was going on. Nope, that's not it. Well, let's just say Donald was freaking out then at the end of July because of those news stories I told you about, and also the sanctions. Remember when I did that reading on did Donald hand over any Alaskan, lands to Russia? What did he give to Putin? That was also the reading that I did back when United States and Canada intercepted the Russian jets that flew near Alaska. And why did they do that? Putin was sending a warning shot to the Republican Party. Remember who's in charge. Remember who got you elected. That reading. I think John Huntsman resigned around then. Very scary reading that I did on him. I was freaking out. I had to just stop what I was doing because it was just so gross of what he was being exposed to and what he found out. Yuck. Also, and I think the following week is when D&I Coates resigned, and so did Sue Gordon, Deputy Sue Gordon for Director of National Intelligence. And by the way, I don't think those positions have been filled either. Like, we have nobody running stuff except for like 4 people. It's just been a power grab from the get-go. That's why they never filled any positions. So at the time things were going crazy like this, he was having fallout with Putin and sanctions. There were things going on with the Trump-Russia investigation. And then, this. When I checked in, because I do my check-ins with them. Do you know what they were doing on July 31st? It's all over this thing. All of them. Donald's idea, and Jared was finishing it off. They were making their plans what to do with Jeffrey Epstein. How to whack him, get him out. And you should see all the people that were in on it. From Mulvaney, Pompeo, Barr, Jared. Even Ivanka knew, because I think she was part of a planning piece with that, just some of the details. But it's all there. They all freaking knew, and that's what they started working on. And another thing, I don't know if you guys know this, like Eric Prince, Mr. Epps he wasn't a mercenary, so he doesn't do like the mercenary SEAL stuff, but he definitely was a go-between like these guys with sharing data, sharing money, laundering money. He knew everything about how Donald was elected. When you start looking at all the people that he triangulates with and how they interact, it's just all these same people. All these same yahoos. So that was that. Let's see, what was this one? This picture, you guys. Oh, some of you are not going to like this. I knew that I saw this picture, but let's go back and talk about the president of MSNBC. His name is Philip Griffin. Thank you. I think it was Marilyn. Marilyn found the missing information because when I did the reading on MSNBC Can't, there was a period of time from 2002 to 2005 we could not figure out where the president of MSNBC was. Like the interwebs had been scrubbed. She found something from a Kyiv newspaper. Well, as it turns out, he was helping in Ukraine in the election of, I keep wanting to say Yanukovych now, but it's not, because we know who Yanukovych is. Oh, no, it was electing Yanukovych. I'm confusing his name, the president of Ukraine at the time, with Marie Yovanovitch, our hero. But, and after Philip Griffin came back from, when he came back to the States for a job, he was actually interviewing with Roger Ailes because he wanted to work for Fox. Ailes was his idol, but then he reinvented MSNBC. And he's signed on Keith Olbermann and Rachel Maddow. You want to see this photo? Some of you guys are going to get upset by this, but you guys have to see this. So I've seen this picture before, but here we go. Here we go. I've seen this before. I was glad I could locate it again. So in this picture, Konstantin Kilimnik, you know who that is, Gru, an elusive figure under indictment for alleged witness tampering by special counsel Robert Mueller, is seen seated on the far left in a March 2006 photo obtained by the Associated Press as part of a collection of internal corporate memos and business records from the international political consulting offices of Donald Trump's ex-campaign chairman, Paul Manafort. Mueller has indicated that Kilimnik is in Russia and has ties to Russian intelligence, which Kilimnik disputes. The photograph represents the few images known to exist of Kilimnik. Also in the photo, seated from left, we have Kilimnik, Martha Young, Catherine Barnes, Tad Devine, yes, that Tad Devine, Bernie's former campaign manager, who was also assisting Robert Mueller during the investigation and had to quit suddenly in the middle of the summer. I wonder if Julian Mulvey is in this picture, because Julian Mulvey, Bernie hired, which was his go-to ad guy, which was Manafort's ad person. So there's Tad Devine, there's Paul Manafort, la 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 la, Philip Griffin standing from left. Who's this? Lee Avershov, an unidentified individual, and Christian Ferry. I don't know who that is. Christian Ferry must be on that side. Is that Phil Griffin? Yeah, 2006. You wonder why MSNBC can't? Well, there you go. Their president working with Gru. Oh, and I think in that reading that I did, MSNBC can't, I asked if MSNBC was in the redacted Mueller report, and I got a yes. And I got a yes on CNN because Jeff, is his name Jeff? I don't know what his name is. I want to say Zuck, but now I'm thinking about Zuckerberg. But it's similar to that. The president of CNN and the president of MSNBC, they're very, very, very good friends. And remember, this guy, Phil Griffin, wanted to go work at Fox under Ailes. That's why MSNBC drives us crazy. We love Rachel, though. We love our journals there. Mine is Hugh Hewitt. I mean, he's really disgusting. Just heinous. Ugh. That is why. That is why MSNBC can't do any reporting. And it's why Peter Jennings is just such a disappointment to me. There were some other things I wanted to show you that I found. Nope. Yeah, Assange is being extradited on the 24th. Oh my gosh, that lady. I gotta find that lady. Here, this is who you want to follow. Alexia O'Brien. She's the one that's trying to get these transcripts. And holy cow, you start reading this stuff, it is so bad. It is so bad what he's done. Big Cases bot, that seems to have some information. Here is Alexia. I don't know what this is, but it says, but not everyone looks to the United States for help. Ecuador and Venezuela have turned to Cuba, where experts have been trained by top-tier Russians, according to industrial officials. Okay, that just validated my whole theory about Cuba and why the Republicans were pissed about Obama trying to talk with Cuba again. I think Obama was trying to do that preemptively because he knew Russia was there, but then Rubio and everyone had to protect Cuba/Russia.